Hello, Eastern fans. I welcome everyone to this wonderful moment here in Cowwave TV. This is evening, 7 p.m. by Nigerian time. I welcome you all to this broadcast this evening. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be watching us or joining us this moment. Yes, of course, I remain Chigozendebo, the host anchor. Beg Nigerian government or die in jail. This is the statement of primate Ayodele to Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, the 10th leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Well, we are going to review this statement or submissions made by the said primate or prophet as he might be called, whatever be the case, but our subject of interest lies on the gravity of his statement and the implication of that or how it's been perceived by the public. Now, the leader of Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, has advised Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOP, to beg Nigerian government to secure his freedom. Please kindly note that. He advised, this is just an advice, asking Mazin Nnamdi Kanu to beg the Nigerian government to secure his freedom. I hope you are following. Kindly hit the like buttons. Share this video because it's going to be an interactive and informative, of course, moment here with Chigozendebo. The, the primate, who is a Yoruba man, have advised the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, to beg Nigerian government to secure his freedom. These are one of the notable points we are going to discuss in the course of this. Now, he also went further to say that the embattled IPOB leader would die in detention if he refused to beg the Nigerian government for his freedom. That is another, of course, position he maintained. Ayodele gave this advice. Okay, that was when he was launching his 30th warming to the nations or whatever in Lagos State. So we are going to review this, and of course, I want you to come with an open mindedness. Let's interact, and of course, iron out this position. It will be an interesting moment, honestly, because I have pondered over that statement. I've been that he's a clergyman or clerics, and he should be aware of what is happening in Nigeria. He should be aware of what is happening, especially in the southwestern region. And he should be aware, at least have some basic knowledge of what has transpired uh, that led to the extraordinary rendition of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu. Now, before we dive deeply into this discussion today, now he also maintained, after several calls from distinguished personalities asking the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to release Mazin Nnamdi Kanu without any further delay. This was when the primate came with this, with his own position that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, should beg the Nigerian government He didn't mince words. He said, beg Nigeria government or you die in jail. Mark that word. Okay, this is coming when Southeast governors and senators had agreed to meet President Bola Tinubu to seek a political solution to Kanu's continued detention. The IPOP leader, of course, who has been detained since June 21, after his, this one said, after his extraordinary rendition, he was kidnapped from Kenya to Nigeria. He was not repatriated. So those people confusing themselves or confusing the publics about the circumstances surrounding the kidnap or extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu are not sincere to themselves and to the public. It is called extraordinary rendition because it does not follow or observe due process. The Kenyan government was not in the know. It was not officially registered that Nnamdi Kanu is being adopted from Kenya. So that is another point to note. Okay, since his extraordinary rendition, court has granted Kanu bail, but Nigerian government refused to release him. Court has granted him bail, even when he was accused to have jumped bail. The Supreme Court, which is the highest appellate court of law within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence, cleared the innocency of Nnamdi Kanu, re-emphasizing and stating categorically that Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail. It was the SSCs of the Nigerian government and the security operatives attempted to assassinate him that led to him, of course, fleeing for his life. Okay, we've been able to establish that again. Then again, the prophet or whosoever is called, primate Ayodele, went further to say, however, Nigeria would break up and neither Kanu nor Yoruba nation agitator Sunday Igbohu would be responsible. Okay, this is another point to note. He went further to say, indeed, Nigeria is at the verge of collapse. Nigeria will certainly or eventually break up, but not Nnamdi Kanu or Igbohu will bring about the breakup of Nigerian states. Well, for me, that is my personal opinion. I don't see Sunday Igbohu as an agitator, or I don't see him as somebody who is championing the cause for Yoruba nation. He expressed his displeasure over the killing of his own people, the way Fulanis were killing his people. That was his main reason for, of course, rallying around and mobilizing the people to protect themselves. So he never shared that ideology of separating Nigeria. He said that no, the way his people are being killed is barbaric and unacceptable. Of course, the killing still continues even to today. In Oyo, in Ibadan, people are being killed. As we learned of recent, that even Amotokus are now being confronted by the same Fulani militias. Note that. Okay, he admitted that Nigeria will certainly break up, but not Nnamdi Kanu, nor Sunday Igbohu, as he claimed, is the Yoruba nation agitator. Now, he should hands off because he lacks the capacity to carry the agitation. That was his argument. Maybe he have seen in his spiritual whatever. Well, the country will break without a bloodbath. It will be a natural cause. He said it will be a natural cause that the country will break, but it will be a natural cause. Well, that could be very funny because the basic principle of physics, the first law of motion, said that a body remains at its state of rest except acted upon by a force. Anybody you see has what he called inertial, that reluctant force that keeps it in its state of rest, or if it is in motion, will continue in motion except it is acted upon by any external force. You see? So for him saying that Nigeria will break, but that will come naturally, is a blatant lie from the pit of hell. Why should Nigeria break naturally? If by natural, it means that everybody in Nigeria is enjoying Nigeria, or possibly will just walk out. We understood that people who within Nigeria are holding the economy or the commonwealth of the country, they will not want the country to break up, not because they knew the country, not because they don't know that the country is not working, not because they believe in the oneness and the unity of the country, Nigeria, but for the very fact that they are gross beneficiaries of this flawed system. The system, the decadence in the system, is giving them advantage over the population, over the masses. So they are benefiting. That is what is keeping them or allowing them to believe that Nigeria should continue. So that submission is quite very disturbing. If he said that Nigeria will break, but that will come naturally, it's a blatant lie from the pit of hell. I repeat myself. I stand to be corrected. I don't care whatever you think. But go and study the history of freedom, those who fought for their freedom. Even Nigeria breaking away from the colonial masters was not just, it never occurred naturally. There was contentions, there were diplomatic engagements, there were protests and all that. Of course, at the point they have to surrender because the people have shown some level of resilience and commitments to have their own independence. Please kindly hit the like buttons. Let me just slow down. Hit the like buttons, hit the like buttons. We can't be the only one enjoying this moment. Just take a moment to hit the like buttons so that we can have other people joining us. We expect more people to participate in this discussion and interaction this evening. Please kindly hit the like buttons. Yes, we can do better. I trust you. We can do better. It doesn't take much. Just that thumbs up. That thing that appears like this, just hit it. It is not shocking. Yes, we are familiar with that. Kindly, thank you. Thank you. As you do that, we appreciate. Yes, kindly hit the like buttons. Hit the like button. Let's have at least from hundreds likes. We can do that. Just take time and hit the like buttons before we continue this in-depth analysis here. So you can understand that sometimes the problem of Nigeria is majorly contributed by these so-called ministers or prophets and the rest of them. Even the white men who brought the gospel to us at a time or point in their life, they fought for their independence. They fought to enjoy the freedom or liberty. They fought to enjoy the development and, of course, dividends of democracy. And, of course, the social security they are enjoying today. They all fought for it. when you go through, of course, the revolution, the even the France Revolution, it was bloody. When you go to the Europe, the revolution that brought about transformation after the Second World War, it was bloody. Co- Consider American Revolution that gave birth to a new nation. We are now, of course, everybody is proud to identify his or herself as America, an American citizen. Okay, when you consider Finland, of course, they fought the USSR of one of the world powers to have their freedom. Even down here, you have the South Sudan and all that. The reality is that freedom is not given but taken. So telling the world or Nigerian, deceiving them under any deception of this guy that Nigeria will break, but naturally, who are you deceiving? Where has that happened? If you have understanding of the scriptures, you understood even the Israelites, they fought several wars. They conquered Jericho, they conquered the Amalekite, they conquered several, dominate several kingdoms, and before the eventual Exodus. Do you understand that? Yes, let's kindly hit the like buttons. Thank you. We are coming up, but we need to do more. Thank you. Can we have just a minimum of 100 likes? I think that will encourage us more. Yes, let it go viral. Let share this video, share it, let in your platforms wherever you belong. Share it to friends. Let's join this discussion this moment. Share it in your space. Yes, yes, share it. Let's go. Oh, let's go. Let's go. We can do better. Now let's come back to our discussion today. Beg Nigerian government or die in jail. How could somebody who called himself a prophet make such statement in the first place? By that statement, I understood him to have said there is no law in Nigeria, or there is no government who respects the rule of law, who respect the rights of an accused who is still presumed innocent. I tell people, tell me any court within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence that have indicted Mazin Nnamdi Kanu. He has eventually won all his cases. The 15 count charges were squashed, was were was thrown to the dustbin by an appeal court, which is the appellate court of law, and gave a verdict that no court within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence has the legal rights to try or continue the trial of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. It's in before the public domain, and I expected the lies of primate Ayodele Elijah to have educated his own members or congregation better on what the principles of rule of law and, of course, the rights of the people is. So, if you have not understood this, perhaps you could have opportunity to go through this or listen to this broadcast this evening. So, why the beg? That is the fundamental issue we have to discuss. Why should Nnamdi Kanu beg Nigerian government? Has the court indicted him of any charges bordering on terrorism and treason? Have any court been able to argue that or establish that he is guilty? The answer to this is no. He has overwhelmingly defeated the Nigerian government in their own courts. And eventually, the two last court appearance, he said that no court has a right to try him. Anyone who does that, of course, should be considered as the act of terrorism. Because before the international laws, extraordinary rendition is a international criminal act, which has its consequences or penalty. So somebody you rendition, which should be demanding for compensation and do justice, you are now turning the table upside down, trying to make him guilty of what is not, rather than you who should feel the sense of guilt. Unfortunately, being supported by people who say they are representing God. I'm not trying to insult any person or whatever he believes or whosoever he is, but I am trying to let us understand that we should not be sentimental when it comes to issue of this gravity. Nnamdi Kanu was taken to court, and the court have given their verdicts, which eventually was overturned without any justifiable reasons, and which the counsel to Nnamdi Kanu has maintained their position that they are very much ready to challenge whatever position in that respect. Now, you said Nnamdi Kanu should beg Nigerian government on what basis? On the basis that he is guilty of whatever accusation he may have been levied, or on the basis that Nigerian government is a lawless government that has no respect to the rule of law, they does whatever they imagine or whatever they think, of course, is at their best interest, regardless of whether it is against the principles of justice. So you could rather be telling us that this is a state of anarchy, where the rule of laws and the rights of the people and even your own institution, legal institution, is not being respected. Justice Binta opted for out of court settlement or political solution, which the legal counsel to Nnamdi Kanu said, okay, well, let's watch out and see how that goes. So ever since then, there have been several counter motions and misinterpretations of that Nnamdi Kanu is begging for out of court settlement. These are false narratives sponsored by, of course, some vested interests to change the narrative. You can't understand that. Yes, you said Nigeria will break. Then why will Nigeria break naturally? If all is well with Nigeria, why should he believe that Nigeria will break naturally? Naturally means, of course, there is things that is not working, that is not in place. The system could not be trusted, that some feel aggrieved, that some feels marginalized or suppressed. And as such, it could lead to a spontaneous disintegration. Without anything triggering it. Do you understand the position? These are people who will tell you, pray for Nigeria, why they don't hold the government accountable. Unfortunately, most of them are also the problem of Nigeria, because they go behind and collect money in the name of praying for somebody you know has no capacity to transform the nation, to drive an economic revival that will be for the benefit of all. Today, I believe most of his members are also impoverished. They're also passing through the same thing every average Nigerian could be passing through, because nobody lives in isolation. So what I wanted to establish is the very fact that the primates, Ayodele, Elijah, acknowledge that there is something fundamentally wrong with the existence. Of course, that led him to admit that Nigeria will naturally break, but that may not come from the action of or agitation of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and his IPOB, and eventually Sunday Igbohu has gone silent. He's enjoying himself in wherever he is. So the fundamental issue to be addressed is, where is the place of the rule of law? Where is the place of justice? Or justice is perceived to be just for a particular race, a particular people. When it involves them, then you could act in the interest of justice. When it involves others, it doesn't matter. You continue to keep him, you continue to suppress and oppress him, because they are considered not to be parts, an integral part of your own clique. No, it doesn't happen. So you don't build a nation with such level of biasness. It is not done anywhere in any sense society. You cannot say that this one can assess or can have justice, can be pardoned. Even there is not even place to contemplate on pardoning or forgiving. Why should he forgive? Nigeria should release him, comply to the court verdict, and compensate him. That should be the discussion, even out of court settlement. How do we compensate you? How do we, of course, try to mend the blunders or the errors we have done? These are should be at the front burner. I'm not telling us that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu should beg, and of course, for his release, or he die in jail. Okay, he should die in jail because he's a rat. He's an animal, right? He doesn't have people. He's not coming from a family. He's not coming from a race. He's not coming from a region. He doesn't have anybody to fight for him. Mieti Allah and their military threatened to bomb down Nigeria if their president Badejo was not released. And eventually, the Attorney General of the Federation and the Ahmed Bola Tinubu as the president sweep into action. The count charges against him was dropped immediately, instantly, and he was let go off the hook. So it appears now that Nigeria respect only people who are prone to violence. If you are not violence prone, if you are not the person that will say, let fire burn, let every dam burn. I saw the spokesperson of Mieti Allah boiling that the trial of the president of Mieti Allah should be discontinued. Otherwise, the Fulani militias are losing their patience. They are ready to burn down Nigeria. And eventually, in the interest of public peace or justice, as the Attorney General admitted, that, of course, the cases was withdrawn and the man was released to reunite with his family, which I have nothing against that, provided that will, of course, promote peace and coexistence. What was the offense of the Mieti Allah president? He went about to recruit Fulani militias who will protect the Fulani domains in every state where they reside without seeking the consent of Nigerian government or the state governor, and of course went further to procure arms for them to protect themselves. He recruited his own soldiers, if I may say, or vigilantes, give them uniforms and all that, which of course happens to be a treason charges against him, but it was withdrawn. Of course, recent you saw how Fulanis were moving their cattle into farms, uh, of course, destroying people's farmland in Oyo and, of course, the southwestern region. But you have not seen any IPOB member disrupting the public peace or coming from east to southwest or to north or north central, northeast, northwest to begin to disturb the peace of the northerners. You haven't seen that. And yet you see some northern people demanding that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should not be released. Can you understand such prejudice? Can you understand such level of hypocrisy? Such level of selfishness? So on what basis should Mazi Nnamdi Kanu begin to beg? No, I'm yet to understand what exactly is happening. Well, I'm not the spokesperson of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I'm just, of course, analyzing and interacting here today. But if you think there is any reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should beg, even when he's not guilty, come on. I believe if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had been indicted or convicted, Nigerian government would have adhered to the court verdict to prosecute him. But the reverse was the case when the judgment was against the Nigerian government and his defense counsel. So they have to sit down on that case because to them, they could lord it over to whosoever they wish or they think could be trampled upon. So Ayodele, Primate Ayodele should tender unreserved apology to the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, for even contemplating that he should, of course, beg Nigerian government or beg Tinubu on a case that he has won overwhelmingly internationally and domestically. And the judge have seen the need to discontinue the case because it lacks merit. You cannot try somebody, of course, who you offended by law, international law for that matters. Rather than seeking a way, of course, to compensate him and apologize. But today, after arresting him, you thought he was Nigeria's nightmare by speaking and, of course, in engaging in diplomatic process to actualize the fundamental rights of his people to self-determination. But today, it is very clear that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a saint by his approach, the way he deploys his strategies. He is not violent prone. He's not somebody that wants, of course, the loss of the worst of human life. But today we have seen immediately his extraordinary rendition when the Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa stepped into the shoe. You have seen his approach. He never believed in nonsense. He never believed in carrying of placards and demonstrating on the street for soldiers to come and shoot his own disciples or whatever. He said, I will be your end. That I'm coming with whatever way you want. If you want blow, I give you blow. That is his own style. That is his own system. He is not too dull as Nnamdi Kanu. He's not somebody that is can accept any nonsense. Just as him. If you want bullets, I give you bullets. And of course, everybody is feeling the heat. The most unfortunate thing is that the eastern region, of course, has been hijacked by some miscreants or some non-state actors who use the opportunity to rob and, of course, enforce the forceful disappearance of the indigenous people of the East. But things has never remained the same. That is the truth. So, Ayodele, Primate Ayodele should apologize to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu without any further delay. That is my own position. I have made it very clear. I'm not the spokesperson of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Neither am I one of his legal counsels. As a national analyst, I fought the statement of Primate Ayodele that it is not in the interest of public peace and, of course, in the interest of justice and fairness. You can't ask a man to apologize as if he's begging his wife. Apologize for what? Somebody who was tortured, almost near death, kidnapped, blindfolded, and flown with a private jet down to Nigeria and taken immediately after 8 days of torture to the courtroom, and the court process commenced. An eventual verdict was given, of course, which the then president of Nigeria, Buhari, said court will decide the fate of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And eventually, when court decided the fate in his favor, the Nigerian government also sat on it. So we will not let you go. Of course, the detention of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has become an issue of discourse within the Nigerian political landscape. Several regions, personalities, international bodies has been calling, including the United Nations group in charge of course, human rights and abuse, have also written to Nigerian government as an attestation, as a testament that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu should not be tried, is innocent. Under any circumstances, should Nigeria continue his detention, indefinite detention, in DSS dungeon? These are realities. We cannot, of course, continue to live in denial because it doesn't affect me or it affects another person. The person can go to hell. Things are not done the way. By the way, we are all Africans. Why should we, of course, not promote equity, fairness? The person you are oppressing today might turn out to become your savior tomorrow. As people are seeing now that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is really honest and sincere in his quest. He's not just fighting for his own people, the Igbos or the Biafrans. He's seeking for the liberation of the entire African continent. Of course, the enemies of Africa and the willing vessels too within African domain will also be used to frustrate that. Because the Western world understood, well, once Africans are liberated, one, there is an emergence of a state that will drive that change and revolution in Africa, the West will begin to lose their potency, will, be, will begin to lose their relevance within the African continent. Because the African children will rediscover themselves and will be given the opportunity to explore, to reinvent themselves, to rediscover themselves, and to move the continent ahead. You know, the cradle, Africa was the cradle of civilization, but in the course of time was overtaken by the West and unfortunately relegated to the dustbin. That Africa becomes a dumping site. Africa becomes a West basket where anybody can toss around. The exploitations, the privations, our natural resources have been harnessed, stolen from us, and yet the children of Africans are out of school. They can't even access basic necessities, amenities. They don't even have food to eat. Just as the the Nigerian Senate told us today that there is no food reserve. The food reserve is empty. Why we have arable lands, why we can deploy into commercial agriculture farming, we have the potential, we have the capacity, but unfortunately, we are being censored and controlled by some Western powers who don't want the progress of the African race. But unfortunately, as political leaders are the one betraying the cause of African development because of the temporal, of course, inducement or whatever they think they are getting from them, or opportunities they might think they might usurp by paying allegiance to those Western powers at the detriment of the entire African population or African race or continent. It is quite disturbing. There should be the sense of commitment to justice, to fairness, and of course, that must be perceived to have been done. Not until this is done, of course, there will not be peace because you can't pacify the aggrieved ones when you are trying to force them or coerce them to accept what is not settled within their subconsciousness. When they have rejected Nigeria within their subconsciousness, I mean, you can't win that war. Over time, you have convincingly made them to believe that they are not part and integral part of this system. You have silenced them. You have silenced them. You have not given them the opportunity, even when, of course, they would have done exceptionally well for the entire country. Because of the name or where they come from, you don't give them the opportunity. And everybody is trapped in this disillusionness, in the state of disillusionness, motionless, and despair. Today, no tribe in Nigeria is happy. Not even the tribe of the president. Yorubas are not happy with Nigeria today. Go out and ask them. They will tell you the pangs of pain, the agony they are passing through. Most of them have scurried for safety. Most of them have fled from their ancestral homes. But nobody is talking about that. Most communities, Fulanis, are on rampage. Nobody could go to farm again. Nowhere is safe. So who exactly is happy with the system and with what is going on? He said Nigeria will divide naturally. It is quite unfortunate. As I rightly maintain, I wouldn't want to insult anybody, but sometimes before we talk, we should listen to ourselves. And somebody who did nothing, you ask him, he would die in jail. He would die in jail because of what? Because he was guilty of whatever has been accused of him. Which court have indicted him? None. Because even the defense counsels to the Nigerian government cannot establish any case against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. So on what basis should he die in jail? Primate Ayodele should tell us on what basis should Mazin Nnamdi Kanu die in jail. Thank you so much. I leave you with this question. Until I come your way in subsequent edition. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Kindly hit the like buttons and share this video. Subscribe if you have not done so and turn on the notification buttons so that when next we come live or upload any video, you could be the first set to have it. Just visit our YouTube channel. We have more intriguing and exciting news, of course, which you needed to catch up with. These are exciting moments here, always keeping it real in Core Waves TV. We are making the waves, and the vibration of the wave will continue until justice prevails. Thank you once again for being part of this broadcast. My parting words is to Primate Ayodele. On what basis should Mazin Nnamdi Kanu die in jail? He should stop whipping sentiments, begging Nigeria on what basis? He is innocent and is being presumed innocent according to the Nigerian constitution until proven otherwise by any competent court of law, which as of today, none has proven otherwise that he is guilty. So why should an innocent person die in jail? Primate Ayodele Elijah. This question is for you. Thank you once again, esteemed fans. Whoever is watching across the nations of the earth, I remain Chigozendebo, a national analyst and commentator. Of course, anchoring this program this evening. Bye until we meet again in the next edition.